Alright guys, welcome to another weekly outlook video. I know it's a little bit weird to just randomly start in the middle of nowhere. I probably should have started with Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Hoping you guys all had the best throughout the course of 2024. Now we're here, 2025. I know I don't sound the best at the moment, but I'm recovering. And in this video it will be me covering what I'm expecting in this coming week, keeping in mind that this is NFP week as well, and doubling as my plan for 2025, what I believe would prove to be successful in trading, no matter the style of trading that you take in, or the concepts you may be trading in general. So let's dig in. I'm going to start off with the dollar index, as we do traditionally on this channel, and I'll start with the yearly chart, which is the 12 months chart. On the dollar index, on the 12 months chart, if we remembered last year, we were targeting the yearly buy side imbalance, the yearly BC, as I've delineated over there, and I was looking to see if that could create the low of the year so that it makes buying this year to be an obvious directional bias for the rest of the year. But that didn't happen, but we still got a close, a solid closure. Looking at the previous yearly candle, we got a solid closure above the previous yearly high. When we measure this wick, this long wick there, and give us the quarters, we can see that we've already even traded to the 50%, which is the consequent encroachment of this long top wick, right? So already the first target has been met. My next target would be the 75%, which is over there at 111.964. Then of course ultimately we could look for that buy side liquidity. So just because of the yearly closure above here is the only thing that makes me think and feel that I would be bullish this year. On the 3 months chart, which is the quarterly chart, if we ever trade lower on the dollar index, I would be expecting us to trade lower into these series of down close candles. So looking at this white candle right there, that's a down close candle. Looking at this one also, that's a down close candle. So I would not be surprised if at some point in the year, I'm not saying right now, but at some point in the year we tap either to that level or all the way down here to this level, which is obviously this previous down close candle, before continuing higher to that buy side liquidity to create the low of the year. So yeah, of course we're still in January, so we could still expect consolidation. We could still expect ranging price action, but on lower time frames. You know, we could still expect anything, but for now that's what I'm expecting, higher prices. But I want to see if we would respect this breaker or not. A breaker happens when a liquidity sweep has occurred, which we have there. We have a liquidity sweep, we have a shift in structure when we closed above this swing high. So now, to me at least, this becomes the breaker, this entire area. So I would not be surprised if we create the low of the year at somewhere inside of here before continuing higher. Of course, as I said, that is just a possibility. It's not something that's set to stone. I'm mostly an intraday trader, so I'm going to take things by the day. I'm not really going to stress myself too much about longer term projections, even though they assist me to know which direction has higher probability. When we go down now to the weekly time frame, we can see the entire range, right? The range high is over there, the range low is over here. If we want to divide this again in quarters, something interesting that I saw is that the 50% mark, this light blue or cyan color over there, looking to the right of it, it almost perfectly aligns with this down close candle. So this down close candle now makes me think this might be an area to pay even more careful attention to, because firstly, we came off of a fair value gap over there. We created a swing low and then blasted off of it. On the way up, we created a new fair value gap. We didn't tag into that fair value gap last week, but we could find it to be the low of the week this week, so we could find price trade down to this area, which aligns with the 50% of the entire range before continuing higher, or we could find price just creating a new weekly BC somewhere up here to continue higher next week. Two possibilities, and I'm open to any of them playing out. I'm just taking things by the day. Going down to the daily time frame, I don't have much to add from here. I don't have much that I see here. If we don't trade down into that weekly area that I just highlighted, we could also watch to see if price could respect this down close candle. It's a little higher than the one that I marked out earlier, but we could see price respect here to use here to propel higher. So yeah, just multiple areas to watch out to see if we could get some sort of rejection. Now moving on to euro dollar, obviously would be the opposite direction of everything, right? We have the yearly chart, which it's not really one-to-one with the dollar, but we have the yearly chart, we have the 3 months chart, which is the quarterly chart. Monthly, we finally tagged into this monthly discounted BC that we were targeting last year, actually last 2 years at this point, and yeah, finally reached it, which is cool to see. On the weekly, we've also tagged into this weekly BC over here. Let me mark it out so we can see what I'm talking about. Over there, we've tagged into this weekly one as well. But something interesting that I noticed here, when I drew out this low, this swing low, and put it out to the right, it makes almost perfectly equal lows with this one right there. Actually, let's check here. You see the open, high, low, and close. Let's pay attention to this L number, which is the low. The low of this candle right now is 1.02227, and then the low of the previous weekly candle is 1.02241. So literally not much of a difference. It's literally both 1.022 on both of them. So I find this to be relatively equal lows, and I see that as a possible area to be purged. So I would not be surprised at all if euro continues lower this week to clear these perfectly equal lows, or should I say relatively equal lows. Another interesting thing that we can see happened in the previous weeks is we have a fair value gap over there, which I've marked out as the weekly CB, and we can see price traded into it and rejected away from there. Of course, we stagnated a little bit week after week after week until this specific week here. Last week we just purged through and continued driving lower. So I think price could continue lower this week without needing to create a fair value gap here for the upper week, especially considering that this week is NFP week. So going down to the daily time frame, we could work with a few fair value gaps to push us lower. One thing I already noticed is that we had an immediate rebalance. This euro dollar on the daily chart refused to even make a fair value gap over here on the daily, right? But we actually created one over here, so we could see a possible high of week form within this daily gap, even though I think we may find a consolidating price action today and tomorrow before seeing some movement. Actually, maybe not, because I think we do have CPI today on euro, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check the calendar now. Looking at the economic calendar, we can see right there, Monday all day is the Italian bank holiday, but we also have the German prelim CPI, so it's the preliminary outcome. So not much of a I don't expect much of volatility in a way, even though I do, but not too much, right? I don't expect there to be too much volatility on euro dollar today, but who knows, especially when it's written all day. We're not really sure when. Of course, we know it's during the kill zones, most likely. It's rarely the closing hours of the London session, but it's not out of the realms of possibility, right? So we could see some measure of volatility on euro today. Then we got Swiss CPI tomorrow, which is another cool data release, and I might make a projection or an outlook for this specific data release on the Swiss franc. And yeah, of course, going on, we have CPI again on Aussie. We got a few red folder news that should bring volatility this week. Because it's NFP week over there, we have unemployment change, right? Because it's NFP week, I consider Mondays to be a tradable day, especially for NASDAQ, right? Especially for the indices. So I'm going to be looking for a trade today. I'm not saying that I would find a trade by force, but I would look for a trade opportunity. And if it does fit all my criteria, I'll take it, you know. And the same goes all the way till Thursday. We don't even have any red folder news events on Thursday, so I'm probably gonna skip this day entirely unless we see something on gold, for example. And then here on Friday, I would wait for after the news report. So I'll probably trade the silver bullet hour or something like that. So yeah, that's my expectations for this week. Euro dollar, expecting lower prices. So we'll see how that goes. So I did say I was gonna mix up this video with my plans for this year. So this year, I have experienced a great level of success in trading prop firms, right? So I decided that I'm going to focus primarily on prop firms, especially because, firstly, it was initially because of my financial position. It was because of my personal financial situation. But then it eventually evolved or graduated to being my preference because it only made sense logically for me. It only made sense to take advantage of these companies that are willing to give you some measure of leverage to trade, right? To trade these demo accounts or prop accounts or whatever you call them in order to gain real money. So I thought to myself, instead of funding $1,000 for yourself, $10,000 for yourself, and exposing yourself to the real risk, why not buy a prop firm that's about a prop firm account that's about $100 in total, right? Decent buying power. Usually would get yourself a buying power of about $2,000 or $2,500, you know, with that $100. And you'd use that to your leverage, use that to your advantage, and try to aim for 1% a day if possible. Even like, you don't aim for anything insane. But yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I concluded to myself, that I was going to focus on props mostly this year, and I would like to see how far that takes me. I would like to see, yeah, where we go with that. Anyway, before I do continue rambling with my random things, I wanted to mention how GU was actually very clean. We had a liquidity sweep over there as I marked it out on a lower time frame. We tapped into this weekly imbalance before pushing down without hesitation last week. Even though we consolidated here, we still rejected off of this weekly imbalance as well. So GBPUSD's price action was actually very clean. Looking at it on the daily, it was a very nice market maker sell model. Of course, it completed there, but we continued displacing here on Thursday the 2nd, right? Going to a 4-hour chart, we can all agree that it's been clean. Big figure levels were being rejected off of after getting liquidity sweeps, tapping into this rejection block. We just continued beautifully to the downside. We got SMT there, the highest before, giving us this first push down, consolidation, then quick displacement down. with a red folder, news event most probably. So this was really nice. The GU was really nice as we concluded last year and began this year, right? I don't have much else to cover on the dollar. I'm gonna skip now to NASDAQ. NASDAQ, starting off with the weekly time frame on the continuous contract. I told myself that we're gonna remain bullish until proven otherwise on a weekly perspective. Right here we have a bullish order block, right, coupled with a bullish fair value gap as well over there. All right, so I'm expecting higher prices. In other words, I would expect to see some sort of internal range liquidity, internal liquidity to external liquidity, like that. IRL to ERL. Going down to the daily time frame, we can see the rejection after barely taking this sell side liquidity, rejected away from this order block, this specific down close candle. The opening price, I pulled it out and notice how price rejected beautifully away from it right there. So now that we are displacing higher, I'm looking for a continuation higher. My first target would be this premium fair value gap, the premium CB over here, which I've marked out as the daily. Okay, I don't know how this happened. I'm not sure what I did there, but yeah, I've marked out as a daily CB over there. When we go down to our 4-hour chart, because remember we're working with a weekly PD array. This right here is a weekly PD array with the weekly order block. I'm looking for a 4-hour confirmation, and on the 4-hour, I'm seeing this order block. This last down close candle that took liquidity is a high probability order block in my opinion. So I'm looking for something that looks like this. I don't know what happened there. Tap into this order block, then continuing higher. First target, as I've already mentioned, would be the daily CB. Then going through that, we could look for this buy side liquidity to be tagged, and who knows, eventually we may get a new all-time high as well on NASDAQ. So yeah, that's what I'm expecting on NAS, and of course I'll be expecting the same on ES. We have a fair value gap there even on ES, so we could, and we have an SMT at the lows, which is even nicer. I'm only noticing this now because I haven't looked at my chart for so long, for some weeks now. But yeah, we got SMT at the lows with NASDAQ, and we got a displacement above. We got an order block, so we could look for continuation higher, maybe to this premium gap. Then going through that, we may get this buy side liquidity, then the all-time high. So yeah, that's what I'm expecting going into this week. I'm not really paying much attention to YM or Russell this week, but anything is possible. So we could see price run down, take ourselves high, even after giving us the displacement it gave us already. So yeah, anyway, the last thing that I wanted to add as the biggest thing, the biggest change that I'll be making this year, is to keep persistent with journaling. I don't care what style of trading you do. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care if you flip a coin for every trade you take. At the end of the day, if you don't journal, you're not going to know how high of a probability a certain decision you're about to make is going to be. And the only way to get those data, to get those statistics, is by literally documenting every trade you take, right? Document every trade you take, document every step or decision you're thinking, however you are feeling emotionally. Document it all so that in the future you would know exactly what to do better or what to avoid. So those are the two things that I'm going to be doing this year. Documenting aggressively as much as possible, as best as I can. Maybe one of these days I might show you the Notion template, I guess, that I'm using for my journaling. So yeah, maybe. And then yeah, then the second thing, as I've already said in the beginning, which was to take advantage of prop accounts. But yeah, I don't have much else to add for now. I'll cover as the week goes. I'll cover on anything you guys might have for me. Of course, welcome to the new year. I'm glad you all made it here. I'm glad we're finally at 400 subs. I'm waiting for that 420 mark as I've been targeting for such a long time now. But I think we'll reach there soon. So yeah, that's all I have to add for you guys now. Make the best of the week, make the best of the year, make the best of yourself, and do not regret any decisions you make. So if that's gonna be the case, make every decision you make intentionally. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye bye.